Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. Here in just a bit, I'm going to be hitting the road to check out the new action film, Sisu. So what is the story of Sisu? Okay, so it's the year 1944 and in Finland. A prospector has found an extremely large sum of gold, and wouldn't you know it, the closest bank is well over 500 miles. And as I also mentioned, it's 1944. So on his way to said bank, wouldn't you know it, but he runs into a group of Nazis on a scorched earth campaign. And you know what? They like the idea of getting his gold. But that turns out to be a really bad idea for the Nazis because this man is no normal prospector. Let's just put it that way. This film looks like it is going to be an over-the-top bloodbath. I've seen the red banded trailer for this film, and holy crap, I look like I am in for one hell of a roller coaster ride. There is bombs, there are bullets, and there are blood. And of course, knives and anything else that looks like you can kill a Nazi with is going to be used in this film. You know what? I am really looking forward to this movie, so enough of me sitting here talking about it. I need to get out the door because it's time for me to go check out the new movie, Sisu.
Everything is not enough. Really hot by the ocean. Among all those white hot sands.
Welcome back, just getting home, and you know what guys, I had an absolute ball watching this film. This movie was super fun, and Charming Amy I think said it best when she said on the way home, this movie was like Inglourious Bastards for people who didn't really like all the talking in that movie. And I'll get to what I mean by that here in just a moment. Alright, so like I like to do, I'm going to get this started with the negatives and then I'm going to move into the positives. Now, as it's been lately, the negatives that I have to talk about aren't something that I necessarily disliked about the movie, but these are things that I think that the normal moviegoer is going to find a little unattractive about this film. Number one is definitely the gore and violence. Guys, this movie is like horror level movie violence. There is a lot of blood and guts. There are people straight up exploding in this movie. And there's also some just absolutely cringe-worthy, painful scenes to watch in this movie. So if these are things that you know for a fact you cannot handle whatsoever, this is probably not your movie. If you're also looking for a movie with a very in-depth story with very, in-depth character development and a character struggle from beginning to end, this is not your movie. This is one thing and one thing only: a violent action film. That's it. Like I was saying, there is barely any talking in this movie whatsoever. It is mostly just guns, violence, bombs, blades, and blood. That is all this movie is. So if that's something, if you need more from your movie than just non-stop blood and guts, then this is probably not something for you. Now, I'm making this film sound like it is just, again, non-stop blood and guts, which it's not. There are points where things slow down for a little bit because you as a viewer really need to catch your breath more than the people in the film. Let's just put it that way. So the movie does have a few parts where it slows down a little bit just to kind of let you catch your breath, and then it just goes right back into the balls-to-walls violence. And let me tell you guys, the practical effects in this film are outstanding. There is a lot of, well, like I said, people exploding, and that looks like, well, it looks like what might happen if people exploded. It is very, very well done. I really enjoyed the practical effects in this movie. There's also a lot of scenes where they do some like close-up shots, you know, of course, of the whole wounded soldier stitching himself up, stuff like that. And it's just those scenes where it just gets up really close, you know, to the wound, and it's just, oh, it's so hard to watch those. And those parts look really outstanding in this film. So I really don't have a lot of bad things to say about this movie. The film plays like an old school grindhouse film. It is nothing but violence and blood, and that's pretty much the core of this film. So if this is something that sounds like you are just not into, if you're not somebody who really likes a ton of violence or a ton of blood and guts in your film, this might not be the movie for you. Now, if you are someone that's like, oh yeah, I like that, that sounds great, well then this is definitely a film you're going to want to check out, and good, because it is coming out this weekend, and I say this is a definite must-see in theaters if you are a fan of this genre. If you are someone who likes a good, bloody, violent action film, this is right up your alley. If you are a fan of the old school grindhouse films, you're going to probably like this movie a lot. One last thing I forgot to mention is that the movie is extremely well shot also. The cinematographer used the landscape of Finland to their utmost ability. It looks very good. The film is very well shot. It looks great. Practical effects are great. Just don't expect a whole lot of story, character development, character journey, anything like that. This is short, sweet, to the point. This is a guy trying to get from point A to point B, and wouldn't you know it, there's Nazis in the middle. That's it. Alright guys, well thanks again for checking out The Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.